Hi everyone, welcome back to Skills for Chasers. In this video, we're going to start off with DAX. So DAX, all of you, is something which stands for Data Analysis Expressions. And I normally observe, right, a lot of people actually have a little bit of a phobia around DAX, and they keep, struggling how to use the DAX, what exactly DAX are all about. So in this session, we are going to start on the DAX from the very basics, and the people who might have some Excel knowledge, so they will find DAX is something which is very much similar the way we use formulas in Excel. So I can actually say DAX is a little bit more advanced version of the Excel formulas, with the help of which you can do a lot more. And these DAX are not just limited to the Power BI. In fact, if you get a good understanding and knowledge around the DAX, you can use them within the Excel also. And if you use some of the other applications of Microsoft, you will find them to be really helpful over there. So we use DAX basically for three things. With the help of DAX, we can create calculated columns. We can create calculated measures. And thirdly, we can create calculated tables. So we will see all the things step by step with the project-based approach. So let's jump to the Power BI and let's start seeing these things practically. So here we have opened a fresh new Power BI file, and let's bring some data into it. So for that, I will be using an Excel file. So I'll click on Excel workbook. So we click on Excel workbook over here, and I'll go to my path where that file is saved. And this is where we have the file training sample. We're going to load the data from the training sample. So before we start using the DAX over here, let's have a little bit walk around the data. So we have a column of region, country, customer. So this is more like a transactional data in which we are given the region, country, which customer purchased what type of item. Like, there was a customer, the name of the customer was Trusted Catalog Store, and that customer purchased some mountain bikes, and we are given on what date that item was purchased. We have the list price, unit price, order quantity, and we have the date on which that transaction was done. So let's load this data, all of you. So the data has been loaded in the Power BI. So what I will do as the first step is, let's go to the table view and let's have a look on the data. And here we can see the same data which I have given you the understanding around. The complete data has been loaded over here. So in this complete data set, we have total of 60,919 rows. So yes, we have a good amount of data. So if we take a look on the data, all of you, we have a column of list price, unit price, and order quantity. So unit price is the price at which the store has purchased the item, and list price is the selling price, right? So it's like cost price and selling price. And we have the column of order quantity in which how much quantity was purchased is given to us. So I would like to, as the first step, add some calculated columns. Now, when I add calculated columns, so we will have to write some formulas, and that's exactly what DAX is all about. So in the table view itself, all of you, you will see there's an option of new column. If I just go and click over here on new column, a formula bar is going to come up, and this formula bar is something where we write the formulas. So over here, where is written column, this is where we can define the name of the column, and I will say cost equal to unit price. You just type the initials. If you type U and I, you will see the name of the fields will start coming up because of the IntelliSense. I will select unit price multiplied by order quantity. So again, I just type order, and here we have this formula being created where we are simply doing unit price multiplied by order quantity. Now you just hit enter. And here we can see a column has been added. So everyone, when you add a column is something which generates a physical data. And in this, a row by row calculation happens. So if you see, we had around 60,000 rows of data with us. So this column will go in every row and do that multiplication and generate that output for us. Now, whenever you add any calculated column, you will see a different type of a symbol will be shown to you in the field list. So this field, this icon can help you to understand that, yes, this field was not there in the original data. This is something which has been calculated directly in the Power BI. Now, likewise, we can add another column. So again, if I hit on new column, now the way we added the column of cost, we are going to add a column of sales. So I can give the name of the column sales. Sales is equal to list price multiplied by order quantity. Now again, I hit enter. So we can see a column of sales has been added. Again, I'm going to add another column over here. If I click on new column, I would like to add a column of profit. So profit is equal to sales minus the cost. You just, all of you have to again just type the initials of the column name. So by default, Power BI is going to give you the table name and then the column name. And then you can press tab to select it and I hit enter. So if you see, we have taken two calculated columns itself to create another calculated column. So cost and sales were calculated, and using these two fields, I have calculated profit as well. I will go back to my report view and let's use these fields for doing one of the calculations. I'm going to make a table. So on this table, if I select this table now, I will bring the field of country, and country wise, I would like to see the cost. I would like to see the sales, and I would like to see the profit. So if you see, we have dragged all the fields which we have just calculated, and we are using them over here to show some further calculations on the report. Now, these columns that we added, so these were primarily straightforward calculations where we just did some mathematical calculations and we were able to create our columns. What if I want to add some conditional column? Now, when I say conditional column, I would like to add a column of sales status where I'm saying if the sales was more than 2000, I want to categorize it as group A. And if the sale was less than 2000, I want to categorize it as group B. So if I now click on new column, I'll call this column as sales status. So now to create the conditional column, we can use a formula which is if. Now, if formula is available in Excel as well. So if I say if, now when you press tab and select the formula, see this formula, first of all, is expecting a logical test. Then if that logical test is true, it's like a condition. If the condition is true, I want, what output do you want? Comma, if the condition fails, then what output do you want? So I'm saying if the sales is greater than or equal to 2000, comma, if the condition is true, in the double quotes, I will type group A, comma, if the condition fails, if the sale is not greater than or equal to 2000, I want the output as group B. Now, if I hit enter, so in every row, this condition will be checked. Wherever the sales is greater than 2000, so I will get group A, otherwise group B. So here we can see in the first row, since the condition is failing, I get the output as group B. So you will see we have a lot of data where we have group B, and here we can see the sale was more than 2000. I get the output as group A. So in this scenario, what we have done is we have just checked one condition. Now I would like to add another column in which we will test multiple conditions. I am saying if the sales is greater than or equal to 2000, I want the output as group A. When the sales is between 1500 to 2000, maybe let's keep it as greater than 2000, and 1500 to 2000, I want to call it as group B. If the sales is between 1000 to 1500, we want the output as group C. And when the sales are less than 1000, we want the output as group D. So if we have multiple conditions, so we use the concept which is called as nested if. Nested if is we are writing if condition inside the another if. So let's see how do we do it. Let's add a new column. I will call it as sales status 2. Over here, I will say if I will add my first condition, sales is greater than 2000. Now, when I write the first condition, if this condition is true, I want the output as group A, comma. If the condition fails means the sale was definitely less than or equal to 2000. Now, if the condition fails, I will test another condition. Is the sales greater than or equal to 1500? If this condition is true, I want the output as group B, comma. Now, if this condition also fails, that I have checked the sale is now even less than 1500, now I will test another condition if the sales is greater than or equal to 1000. Now, if this condition is true, I would like to have the output as group C. And if this condition also fails, now this was the last condition to be tested. Now I will simply say the output must be group D. So in this case, all of you, we have written if inside the if, and all the conditions will be checked sequentially. If the first condition fails, then only the next condition will be checked. If the first condition was true, the rest of the conditions will be ignored. And if you want, you can hit Alt Enter. And if you type 2 forward slashes, you can write some comments. Like I want to write a comment, for example, this is a nested if conditions. So comments can be helpful if some other person looks at your formulas, they can just try to understand what you're trying to achieve. So here we can see the multiple groups have been created based on the conditions we have written. Now let's go back to the report view and let's make one table. So I will add a table again. And here I would like to just understand that how many transactions happen in each group. So can I drag sales status 2? And if you drag the same field, sales status 2, and change the calculation to count. So here we can see total number of transactions that have happened in each group. Now, if you want that this output that you are getting right now, we are showing the count. Instead, if you want to show this count in the form of percentage, so what you can do is where you have dragged the count of sales, what we can do over here is, if we just click on this little drop down, I will say show value as % of grand total. And now we can see most 52% of the transactions have happened under group D and then 33% under group A. So we have a simple click where we can change the output in the form of percentages. Now, definitely, when we have written this nested if conditions, many a times people tend to get confused, right? They feel like, we have to write so many brackets, so many commas and all. In order to overcome this, we have one more formula, which is switch. Now, in the switch formula, what happens is it's the same if formula itself where you can write multiple condition. It is just going to make your condition writing process a little simpler. So let me add a new column and we will try to build the same output what we have done using nested if with the help of switch formula. I'm going to call this column itself as switch. Over here, I will write switch. Now in the switch formula, first you have to give the expression. Now expression is an important part over here. Reason being, this is something which will help you to define how you want the output to come. So I am saying my expression is true. True means now whatever conditions or values you will be writing, wherever the outcome is going to be true, that result is going to be shown to you. So if I say my first value is, I want to check if the sales is greater than 2000. Now see, when the sales is greater than 2000, outcome of this is going to be either true or false. So because we are written true, so if it matches to true, then what is the result I want? I want group A, comma, second value. Now if this first value, the outcome of this was false, now it will check the next one. If the sales is greater than or equal to 1500, comma, then what is the result we want? Group B, comma. Now we check the next one. If the sales is greater than or equal to 1000, comma, we want the output as group C. And if this also fails, so we have last thing which is called as else. In the else, what we do is if all the values were false, then this else part is going to be given in the output, which is going to be group D. So if we see over here, we have now built up the similar thing what we did with the nested if, just without less of brackets and completely a straightforward process over here. So we can see the output has been generated. So this is how we have taken the help of switch formula. Now we will take one more example of switch, since I have told you that basically there is a part of expression which plays the important game. Now, if I have a scenario, I am saying I would like to give the bonus to the to the salesman based on the transaction amount that they have done. But this bonus is dependent on the country. If the transaction has happened in Australia, we want to give 10%. If the transaction has happened in Canada, we want to give 12% as the bonus. Now, when I say 10% or 12%, this is the 10% or 12% of the sales amount. Whatever was the sales value, 10 to 12% of that. If it has happened in Germany, I will say we would like to give 15%, and other countries, others will get 20%. So now I will add a new column. Let's call this column as bonus, and bonus is equal to, I will use switch formula. Now there are two ways of doing this. Either I can say true, and in that expression, if I write true and I will say country equals to Australia. Now that is one way. Now in this, what will happen is, in every row, Power BI is going to check, is the first in that particular row, is the country equal to Australia? If it is true, then whatever result we print, that's what we get. But instead of going this way, what I will do is I'm going to write the expression as country. Now, when I write expression itself as country, so when we will be in the first row, so now at that point in time, the country is United States. Now the expression value will become United States. Now I will say value. If that expression is Australia, then I want to give 0.1 multiplied by sales, comma. If it is Canada, we would like to give 0.12 multiplied by sales. If it is Germany, and be careful with the spellings. For Germany, we will give 0.15 multiplied by sales. And for the rest of the countries, if the value doesn't match any of the countries we have provided, we want the output to be as 0.2 multiplied by sales. So this is where you see, I now don't have to write country equal to this, country equal to the other country. I've given the country column itself as an expression, which will now be used to compare the values, and wherever the value and the expression match, we will get the bonus according to the numbers we have provided over here. So this is where we have seen second example of bonus, and I hope this would be helpful for all of you to use it when you're using multiple scenarios or conditions. So if I come back, so let's use that field as well, the bonus, like one of the tables that we created where we were showing how much cost, sales, profit we have given. Let's try to see if I want to calculate and see the bonus, if I drag that bonus as well in this table. So here we can see how much bonus was distributed in the different countries. So this is where we have seen how you can write the DAX for conditional fields. Now, similarly, we have a lot of text related DAX as well. So when I say text related DAX, these are the formulas which will work on the text data. Let me add a new column. We have a column called as length. See, length is used if I say length of customer. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to help me to give me the total number of characters that we have in each customer name. So it will count every character, space, comma, any other special characters that we have. So we can use length function for that. If I want to use a function called as find. Now, find all of you is something which we use to find the position of a particular character. If I say I want to find the position of space where in customer. So you give two inputs, what you are trying to find and the column in which you want to find it. So it will give the moment it finds the first space, like the name can have multiple spaces, but the moment it finds the first space, it will give you the position of that. Like in the first row, we get the answer as 8. So this is weekend tours. So if you will count it up, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the space is coming at 8th position. So we get the position of space. The first space, the moment it finds, that number will be thrown to you in the output. Let's add another column. Now we will use left. If I say left, so left function is used to extract specified number of characters from the left-hand side. So we can say the first few characters which you want to extract. So if I say customer, comma 3. So from each customer name, it will extract the first 3 characters. And if I use right function, so I hope you all can guess, right is going to extract the same number of characters from the right-hand side. So if I say right, customer, comma 3. So it will now extract 3 characters from the right-hand side, that is the last 3 characters. So this is how we have seen how we have added calculated columns right now. So in this video, we will keep the things till here. In the next video, we will be talking about measures, which are the most important part, and we will be talking multiple measures in complete detail and length. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next video.